Today, we're going to talk about one of your body's hardest working and honestly most underappreciated organs. It's this silent hero that works nonstop for you, and frankly, it could really use a vacation.
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever just have those days where you feel completely drained? No matter what you do, you're tired, you're sluggish, and it just feels like your body isn't firing on all cylinders? Well, the answer might just lie with that unsung hero we just mentioned.
Okay, I want you to picture your pancreas as an employee. But not just any employee. This is the one who's on the clock 24/7, never calls in sick, and absolutely never gets a day off. It is constantly working behind the scenes, just trying to keep your whole system running smoothly. So what's its main job? Well, think of it as your body's elite blood sugar manager. Every single time you eat, whether it's a big meal, a tiny snack, even just a sip of a sweet drink, your pancreas punches in and gets right to work, releasing a hormone called insulin to handle all that sugar entering your bloodstream.
But here is where the problem starts. Our modern lifestyle, filled with constant snacking, tons of sugary foods, heavy meals, and even chronic stress, it has taken this incredibly dedicated employee and forced it into permanent, grueling overtime.
And what happens to any employee, or really any system for that matter, when it's pushed to its absolute limit, day in and day out, with zero time to recover?
Exactly. It starts to burn out. The insulin it's working so hard to produce, it becomes less and less effective. Your blood sugar starts to stay high, your body stores fat way more easily, inflammation starts creeping up, and your metabolism just slows to a crawl. And over time, this constant strain just dramatically increases the risk of prediabetes and type 2 diabetes.
So, the most important point here is this. Your pancreas isn't failing you. It's not weak, it is simply exhausted. It's completely overworked, and more than anything in the world, it just needs a break.
Now I know that might sound a little scary, but here's the fantastic news. You actually have the power to give it the rest it's begging for. The real question is, how do we do it?
All right, let's get right into the game plan. There are 6 simple but really powerful ways to give your pancreas a rest. We're going to start with the first 3, which are all about adjusting what and, more importantly, how we eat.
First up, snack less. Just look at the difference here. When you're grazing all day, your pancreas just gets hit with new work orders constantly, over and over. But when you switch to more structured meals, you create these built-in breaks, giving it that precious time to finally reset.
Step 2 is all about lowering your intake of sugar and refined carbs. The easiest way to think about this is that foods like soda, candy, and white bread are like an emergency alarm for your pancreas. They cause this huge, sudden spike in blood sugar, which forces it to work frantically.
And that brings us right to step 3. Add more protein and fiber. Okay, so if sugar is the accelerator pedal, then protein and fiber are the brakes. They slow down digestion, which means sugar enters your bloodstream much more gradually. This totally reduces the insulin load, making the job so much easier for your pancreas.
Okay, let's dive into the second half of our strategy. These next 3 steps go beyond just the food on your plate and look at some of your wider lifestyle habits. Step 4 is about creating longer gaps between your meals, especially overnight. And hey, we're not talking about anything extreme here. Just aiming for a 12 to 14-hour window, like say from 7 p.m. to 9 a.m., gives your entire digestive system, and especially your pancreas, a huge uninterrupted chunk of time to just rest and repair. Next up, managing sleep and stress. And this is absolutely critical because stress hormones like cortisol directly mess with how your insulin works. So when you're chronically stressed or you're not getting enough sleep, your pancreas has to work so much harder just to do the same job. Less stress literally means less pressure on your pancreas. It's that direct.
And finally, step 6, move more. But again, this can be incredibly simple. One of the best things you can do is just take a simple 10-minute walk right after a meal. Your muscles immediately start using up the glucose from your food for energy, which means your pancreas doesn't have to deal with it. It's a direct and immediate way to lighten its load.
So, let's wrap this all up. I want you to remember this powerful idea. Your pancreas is not weak, it's just overworked. By making these small, intentional changes, you give it the break it needs, and in return, it can begin to heal your metabolism. And that brings us to our final question for you. When you look at all these simple strategies, from just skipping a late-night snack to taking a little walk after dinner, what is just one break you're going to give your pancreas, starting today?